Perfect. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jordan Chaffee of CHF Capital Markets, and I would like to thank you for joining us today for Avicanna's third quarter 2021 investor conference. Today, I have the great pleasure of introducing you to Aras Zadian, CEO and co-founder of Avicanna, as well as a few other key members of the team who will be speaking with you today. Following a strong series of increasing business deals within several strategic locations, Aras would like to take some time today to address the phenomenal results Avicanna has experienced within the third quarter of 2021. You're welcome to submit any questions using the webinar platform within which you are attending this conference. Said questions will be reviewed and potentially addressed in the Q&A segment following Aras's presentation. With that, I will be introducing you to Dave Soe. Please take it from here.
Thanks, Jordan. Good morning, everyone. And on behalf of the management team at Avicanna, we would like to thank you for joining Avicanna's third quarter 2021 earnings call. I'll start with a brief administration item, and Aras will follow with the formal introduction. The news release is available on Avicanna Inc.'s website under the Investors tab and has been filed on our EDGAR and SEDAR profile. Please note that our third quarter 2021 financial results presented in the press release issued earlier today and to be discussed during our conference call today have been prepared in accordance with international financial reporting standards. I would like to note that certain matters we discuss in today's conference call could constitute forward-looking statements that are based on assumptions that are subject to risks and uncertainties that could cause actual results to differ materially from those projected in forward-looking statements, including as a result of the factors described in the cautionary statements and risk factors included in the company's earnings release and regulatory filings by which any forward-looking statements made during this call are qualified in their entirety. Russ, go ahead.
Thanks, Dave. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining our first earnings call for 2021, which is for the period ending Q3 2021. This morning, I'm dialing in from Brazil, from Sao Paulo. We're joined by Dave, our CFO, who's dialing from Toronto, and Lucas Nosiglia, who's the president of Avicanna Latam, who's dialing in from Bogota, Colombia. While 2021 has been a volatile year for the global economy, a difficult one for the cannabis industry, and a transitional one for Avicanna, we are proud to demonstrate significant progress we've made during this third quarter. This has been the most successful quarter for us so far, and we've evolved the organization from an R&D stage company into a rapidly expanding commercial stage company with what is now several business units that are generating revenue across several markets. We've progressed and increased revenues across our raw material business, led by Lucas and the team out of Colombia, which has now completed exports into 11 countries. We've established a strong footprint in Canada with our proprietary Cannabis 2.0 products across 3 channels, which includes adult use, medical, and clinical channels, where we've delivered about 21,000 units in Q3. This is a significant increase from 13,000 units in Q2 and 5,000 units, roughly 5,000 units in Q1. This growth is attributed to the expansion of Pure Earth, our dermocosmetic brand, and RHO our medical brand, which now have a total of 25 listings, or at least had 25 listings by the end of Q3. We've also seen an increase of finished product sales from our Colombian operations, which includes products for the domestic market and export markets as well. It's worth noting that the recent success in our finished product commercialization is really attributed to Avicanna's scientific platform. Of course, this has been our DNA from the beginning. Our advanced formulations, our sophisticated non-inhalation products that are offered to medical and wellness consumers are separated in this very saturated market where there is very little differentiation, specifically the developed market of Canada. These arguably what are Cannabis 3.0 products are also evidence-based, as they're backed by clinical or preclinical data and supported by Avicanna's educational platforms. I believe that we're in very early stages of their potential in Canada, let alone the marketplace that we have recently opened. I will now provide more of a detailed summary in terms of the major business units in North America. Lucas will cover South America, and will also provide a look into general corporate updates, introduction into our pharmaceutical pipeline, and Dave will also follow up with financials. At the end, I will give you a glimpse into the future for Avicanna, and we'll save some time for Q&A as well. So in North America, RHO, which is our medical brand, it is now a wellness brand as well. It includes a line of advanced products that are offered in various ratios of CBD and THC They're all non-inhalation deliveries that include oral, sublingual, topical, and transdermal. They all have controlled dosing, enhanced absorption, and are backed again by stability studies and preclinical data. The advanced formulary is marketed, as I mentioned, to consumer, medical, and what is clinical channels. And it also forms a foundation of the company's pharmaceutical pipeline, as it is similar formulations, but we're also generating significant amount of real-world evidence studies around them. The medical channels that the products are available today is Shoppers Drug Mart. So through the partnership with Shoppers Drug Mart, we've established RHO as a leading brand with 7 SKUs that are today commercial. In addition to that, the products are available through UHN and Sunnybrook Hospital, specifically the Odette Cancer Center Pharmacy, where we believe RHO is the first medical brand to be available for dispensing within a major Canadian hospital. Of course, the products are also available through adult use channels in what is now 5 provinces. So in Q3, the number of listings and number of units delivered across all channels has increased as the brand is starting to establish its leadership position within the medical community, and also starting to establish really the wellness category within the adult use segment as well. Pure Earth, which is a dermacosmetic brand, has now been commercialized in 3 countries. But we launched Pure Earth successfully in Q3 in Canada within the Shoppers Drug Mart channels as well. So the brand that is now commercial in 3 channels is starting to evolve and starting to grow within the adult use segment in Canada, where it's positioned as a wellness product within the $4 billion market. So it's been a good quarter for Pure Earth as well. I'll touch on the partnership with Al Harrington, which includes 2 brands. So our strategic partnership with Al Harrington and the Harrington Wellness Group includes re+PLAY and Viola. Within re+PLAY, which is a line that's focused on CBD topical products that's targeting active users and athletes. These CBD topical products are utilizing Avicanna's proprietary deep tissue technology for cannabinoid delivery and curated with the support of Harrington Wellness' team of athletes and physicians with their deep understanding of the professional athlete's needs. The initial 3 SKUs have been manufactured in the United States, have been also manufactured in the Canadian marketplace by Avicanna and its partners, and are in the process of commercialization in both markets towards the end of this year. Viola, which is a social equity-focused retail brand, this was founded in 2011 by Al Harrington, is now commercial in 4 states. Avicanna has a license to commercialize this ultra-premium product within the Canadian marketplace, where Viola is leading the charge of minority participation and social equity. We recently announced the launch of this brand with initial 2 SKUs with Shoppers Drug Mart. We expect to expand the number of SKUs within the Shoppers channel, but also to expand the product lines into the adult use segments, including Ontario and New Brunswick, where we already have listings. I will provide a brief overview onto our pharmaceutical platform and our pharmaceutical offerings. So we are leveraging Avicanna's scientific platform, of course, our vertical integration, the real-world evidence we generate through the products that we've commercialized. Through that, we've created a pipeline of patent-pending drug candidates, which are indication-specific and are in various stages of either clinical development or commercialization in South America. The natural cannabinoid-based drug candidates provide solutions for unmet medical needs in the areas of dermatology, chronic pain, and a number of neurological disorders, including epilepsy, multiple sclerosis, and Parkinson's. They're intended to be marketed once drug applications are submitted and approved, obtaining marketing authorization, where in North America this would include, for example, the FDA or Health Canada, as well as Latin American market authorities, which include INVIMA in Colombia, and Visa in Brazil, and Marta in Argentina, as an example. So they take various pathways. They take either a generic drug registration pathway, phytotherapeutic registration, or in the case of, for example, Brazil, RDC 327 legislation allows us to register these pharmaceutical drugs without full clinical development for a period of 5 years. Our first drug candidate that is now in the commercialization and drug approval stage is called TruneroX. TruneroX is a 10% CBD, purified CBD emulsion that has undergone GMP pilot production and has undergone analysis of under ICH guidelines for pharmaceutical products. These are necessary for any type of pharmaceutical drug registration, but specifically for generic and phytotherapeutic drug registrations that we are proceeding with within the Latin American market. The advantage, of course, here is that we're leveraging off Avicanna's vertical integration, in sense the source of the API and Avicanna's formulations, and we believe that these products will be approved in the first half of 2022 across several markets. During the Q3, Avicanna successfully completed the drug dossier and has now submitted for drug authorization already for INVIMA within the Colombian market. I'll provide a general overview in terms of our R&D. So, of course, the scientific platform is where we take our pride, where the company is, incepted from. Today, we have made further progress in terms of our drug pipeline, our clinical development, and filing a patent for an application for novel cannabinoid formulation for reducing incidence of seizure and sudden unexpected death related to epilepsy. This was related to research findings originated from a cannabinoid-based collaboration with the leading researcher, Dr. Peter Carlin at the University Health Network in Toronto, where Avicanna's proprietary formulations showed promising preclinical results in reducing seizures. They will now undergo further preclinical and clinical development as a drug candidate. We continue to make progress on other preclinical collaborations and projects, real-world evidence studies, as well as we finalize the development of additional drug delivery systems, including some of the products that are in the pipeline that will be coming into medical and pharmaceutical markets, including sophisticated oral deliveries, including tablets, but also sublingual deliveries and water-soluble technologies. So the pipeline continues to proceed as well. From a corporate perspective, we continue to execute on transitional plans as we evolve the company from a pre-revenue R&D stage company into what is now a rapidly expanding biopharmaceutical company with global operations and sales. This means that the establishment and optimization of our production in Canada, for example, sales marketing infrastructure in markets such as Colombia, are all very important and will continue to evolve. But also we're making senior management changes that are aligned with the future of the company and the evolution needs that we have. I'll now open the floor for Lucas to give an overview of the Latin American operations.
Thank you, Aureus, and good morning, everyone. I'm glad to be here with you today. Well, I'm gonna present the summary of the progress made in our South American operations. As some of you might know, over the past few years, we have focused on building out our infrastructure and optimizing our processes to establish our vertical integration here. But over the past few months, we have evolved and commercialized these business units in what I'm proud to present today as the most significant progress to date across all operations in South America. We have successfully connected our raw material business unit with our scientific platform, and therefore now we are offering industry-leading finished products across cosmetic, prescription medicine, and pharmaceutical drugs at affordable pricing and with significant margins. The combination of Avicanna's IP from Canada, low-cost raw materials and manufacturing has always been for us the thesis behind our global business model, and today I'm happy to present the progress we made doing so. We have also opened several new markets over the past few months with completed exports into 11 countries and have formed, in what I think is very important, strategic partnerships across South America, where we have established an early leadership position in the emerging industry through our genetic program and standardized seeds, our API, cosmetics, and medical products too. While the South American market is still in early stage, it is expected that the region, which is predominantly focused on medical and pharmaceutical products, will be worth about $5 million by 2025. So that being said, I'm going to jump to our first business unit or vertical, which is Aureus, our, let's say, raw material and API business unit, where we offer cannabis dried flower, standardized seeds, and cannabinoid active pharmaceutical ingredients, including CBD, THC, and CBG, through our sustainable, economical, and industrial scale subsidiaries based in Colombia. The majority of the Aureus products are produced in Santa Marta Golden Hemp, our majority-owned subsidiary, which is also Good Agriculture and Collection Practices certified and USDA National Organic Program certification certified for its hemp cultivar. This division basically serves as our supply chain. That was always the idea, and is also a source of reliable input products for its consumer, retail, medical cannabis, and pharmaceutical products for global market. And it's also dedicated to providing a consistent, high-quality source of input materials for the company's global partners, as I mentioned, for their use in the development and production of food, cosmetic, medical, and pharmaceutical products. During Q3, as I mentioned, we have formed strategic supply relationship with global pharmaceutical companies, including a supply agreement with a Brazilian pharmaceutical company with an expected revenue of 4 million in 2022, but also completed the first export of both CBD and THC API to them during Q3. During this quarter, we also attained GACP, Good Agriculture and Collection Practices certification for our cultivation infrastructure, which is expected to allow us to also export dry flower and biomass into developed markets moving forward, including the European Union. This was announced recently by the government. Our Aureus division is, I think, very well positioned to supply the emerging cannabis sector with raw input materials for food, cosmetic, medical, wellness, and pharmaceutical use, in addition to standardized seeds required for cultivation projects, particularly in South America. We're seeing a big opportunity on that front. Finally, as for seed and genetics, we have been basically paving the way for one of the first known federally registered feminized and standardized seed programs, which is the result of 4 years of breeding plan and R&D related to genetics. So after a successful milestone last year on becoming the first Colombian company exporting hemp seeds to the US, we are now commercializing our feminized seeds line into other countries in Latin America, including Argentina, Peru, and Uruguay, and expecting to progress in major supply agreement as we did on the API front once the results are there. I'm gonna now jump to the finished product lines. We continue to make progress on our finished products in Colombia, where, as you know, we have access to our own API plus the low-cost manufacturing for global market. So an example of this is Pura, where we recently export products into Ecuador, and we are working tirelessly to expand these products into other major markets, including the US and Europe, where we have substantially better margins. Again, this is an example of how Avicanna's AP is tied into its low-cost production to be competitive at a global level. That was our thesis, as mentioned. Finally, something very important for us is our medical cannabis program in Colombia. We have been pioneering one of the first medical cannabis access programs of South America under the compound pharmacy model, known here as Farmacia Magistral, where we are offering our raw phyto formulations with our own source of cannabinoids, and where we are also manufacturing in our own facilities. And even with our own patient support program. We have successfully trained over 1,000 physicians over the last year, and also institutions generating prescriptions ethically through arm's length medical institutions and HCPs, delivering what we believe is the most comprehensive medical cannabis program, including our advanced oral, sublingual, and topical preparations with Avicanna's education and patient support programs. We're rapidly establishing the gold standard for medical cannabis in South America, generating significant data in the process and forging the pathway to commercialize our pharmaceutical drugs that are expected to also be approved next year, as we believe the market potential in 2022 and beyond is very promising. So now I'm going to let Dave continue with the financial updates.
Great. Thanks, Lucas, and good morning, everyone, again. I'm just going to touch briefly on some of the financial highlights from the quarter ending September 30th, 2021. So we're happy to report that for the first time in the company's history, our gross revenues hit $1 million for the third quarter. This is up 25% from the second quarter and over 200% in the first quarter of 2021. The majority of our revenue growth this quarter is really coming from the finished good delivery into the Canadian marketplace, where in the quarter we delivered north of 21,000 units across 25 listings. This is up from approximately 13,000 units in the second quarter of 2021 and up from 4,000 units in the first quarter of 2021. In addition to the Canadian and the North American marketplace, we're seeing good sales traction coming out of the South American divisions as well, where revenue grew approximately 50% from the second quarter of 2021 and over 300% from the first quarter of 2021. And we're happy to report that this is the third consecutive quarter with double-digit revenue growth, and we're continuing to see this trend continue into the fourth quarter. In terms of our SG&A and our OPEX, SG&A for the third quarter came in at $2.8 million. This is up slightly from the second quarter that came in at $2.5 million, but in line with the first quarter. In the third quarter, we did have some additional fees related to professionals and consultants to bring our filings and up to date and commence trading again, something that we're very and extremely proud of. I think it's important to highlight here that our focused efforts in the last half of 2020 and in the first quarter of 2021 to reduce the operating costs have been successful. And we're going to see this SG&A stay relatively flat at these levels going into the fourth quarter of 2021 and the first quarter of 2022 as well. From a cash position, we have approximately $500,000 on our balance sheet at quarter end. 2 weeks after the quarter end, on October the 19th, we did do a private placement for $3.9 million. So this did shore up our balance sheet and our cash position into Q4 and will allow us to continue to execute on our business strategy for the remainder of the year and into the new year. And with that, I will let Aureus do the closing remarks.
Forward-looking perspective, we are very, very, very confident in terms of where we stand as a company. We think that this is, the most significant quarter for us, but we believe that after years of R&D infrastructure build out, we have connected the dots and we've put the company in a position to really succeed from a commercialization perspective. We face some unprecedented challenges. We weather some storms that I believe in many ways has increased our efficiencies and helped the company evolve for the next phase of growth. And I believe we're just starting to scratch the surface in terms of the potential of our products and intellectual property really at a global level. In Canada, we expect the commercialization efforts and revenue to continue to grow exponentially, fueled by a number of listings that are increasing across medical and adult use channels. I believe the number of listings from Q3 to Q4 may double. We are enhancing marketing and education efforts. We've also launched Viola and we'll be launching in re+PLAY, both brands that I think will have a significant position within the Canadian marketplace. We do expect Viola to be more of a high velocity product category. We also expect to raise efficiencies in production. We work with several licensed producers in Canada to produce our products. We're seeing lowering of API costs, but we're also seeing efficiencies and economies of scale, but also in better forecasting. So we will see higher margins from the Canadian marketplace. In the United States, we expect to launch Pura H&W in partnership with Red, White, and Bloom. This is going to take place later this year, and we believe now that Pura is an international brand, and we have really learned how to market and commercialize the product line. This is going to be complemented well with Red, White, and Bloom's infrastructure across the U.S. We're also the Harrington wellness-driven launch of re+PLAY in the United States, where of course we're providing educational and marketing support, but this is their commercialization efforts. We are, however, generating royalty revenue in terms of the formulations being ours plus API. In South America, as Lucas demonstrated, we're seeing very early signals of the potential marketplace where we've established leadership position, and we are responsible for a major portion of the currently revenue generated within the continent. We believe we're uniquely positioned to be leaders on the genetics program, which has now been successfully exported to 4 countries, API, which has been successfully exported to about 11 countries, cosmetics, medical, and of course, we believe we're in a position to be leaders on the pharmaceutical segment, where we expect our initial drug registrations to be completed within a few of the major markets in the first half of 2022. So while 2021 was really focused on optimization, on efficiencies, on the launch of the finished products within North America and South America, 2022 we will commence strategic partnerships and commercialization efforts also into the European continent, where we believe our products, again, combination of Avicanna's brands, formulation, and low-cost input materials is really well positioned for that continent as well. I will now follow up with some Q&A and provide an opportunity for any questions anyone may have.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Ron, for a wonderful presentation. We greatly appreciate that, and from the team as well. I see that we have a few questions queued up here, and I'd like to proceed with reading some of them out, and potentially, yourself or a member of the team can jump in and give us a quick response. So I'll start with the first one here. I have a question from a Rahul S. who would like to ask, it's great to see the QOQ ramp of product sales. Can you please give us a sense of how you expect durable recurring revenue to trend going forward, ideally breaking this down by geography? Thank you.
Yeah, I can take that. And thanks for the question, Raul. Thanks for attending. So in Canada, we have established these products, including Rofito, Pura, where we've already seen recurring orders. So every single one of the SKUs that we have launched within the adult use channel, including Ontario, New Brunswick, Alberta, Saskatchewan, has already been reordered several times in terms of replenishment. So we're seeing increase in terms of the units ordered by each of the provincial boards. We're also seeing increase in number of units being ordered by the medical institutions, specifically Shoppers Drug Mart. So from the initial products we've launched, we have not had any SKU get delisted, which I think is a good signal. We're seeing increase in number of units, and of course, we're seeing more and more products get listings in Canada. Mind you, it's worth noting that these are very, very small product categories today. You know, topicals, oral products, the combination of everything non-inhalation, as you know, represents only about 15% of the market. So it is early stage, but we're getting good traction in Canada. With Viola and re+PLAY, we already have a number of listings in place. We already have a number of purchase orders that have been issued. So those product launches are also going to add a significant increase in terms of revenue and units delivered. Canada, I think in Q4 will probably represent about 50 to 70%, giving a wide range there in terms of the global revenue. In South America, we're seeing increase again across finished product sales. We're seeing some steady growth in terms of the API as well and the genetic programs where we're high margin, but we're starting to see more finished product sales. I think that's going to represent about 20 or 25% of our total revenue. And then finally, United States, where we're exporting finished products and earning royalties, will represent about 20 to 25% of our revenue.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Got another question queued up here. This one's from another shareholder, Mitchell Chaffee, and he would like to ask, what percentage of our shares are held by large institutional investors? And do we see any need to raise additional capital to increase market share?
I can take that question as well. Thank you, Mitchell. Thanks for attending. It's a tough question to answer in terms of the institutions because the way the structures have been done in the financing. But you know, the company is very tightly held. From my understanding, majority of the institutions that have invested into the company, ranging from China to Brazil to the United States and Canada, are still holding their shares and they're supporting the company. Many of them supported a recent change in terms of the board of directors of the company. So we do know that we are very tightly held. I think the number, if I was to guess, between the management, the board, and the institutions that are very close to the company is probably within 50 to 60% of the shares. So we are very, very tightly held. In terms of need for capital, we're seeing, as Dave mentioned, increase in revenue, of course, but we're also seeing a stabilization of the SG&A. I believe the SG&A for Q4 will be lower, considering that a lot of those contracts related to the alt are gone. So we believe that we will have some capital needs in probably sometime in Q1, but we're in a much better place to do so in a much more strategic way moving forward. Of course, we appreciate the continued support we've had from our shareholders. As I'm sure everyone saw, we were able to conduct private placements with strategic shareholders and have been selective in who the company is really working with.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Aras. I've got another question queued up here. I'll read it out for you. It's from Rahul as well. It says, international medical markets have been small and slow growing. So how do you see these markets evolving? And what is Avicanna's opportunity here, given this context?
That's a great question, Rahul, and I know you're an advocate for the potential of medical cannabis, and I think I'm going to give you a long answer there. I think majority of the medical cannabis commercialization efforts to date have been done by companies that are predominantly recreational companies, meaning that their focus has been much less on medical. It's a much tougher process. It's a much tougher engagement process with the medical community. I think Avicanna is uniquely positioned from several perspectives within that category. Our credibility, in Canada, being leaders within the medical community in terms of research, clinical work, R&D, but also being one of the only medical brands that's available in major hospitals. I think we've positioned ourselves from a leadership position and credibility perspective. Second, we've produced proprietary products. We have products that are much more advanced, much more accurate in terms of dosing and delivery. And finally, we're combining those products with education and training in markets like Canada that we're going to continue to focus and work with partners to enhance that market potential on the medical side. When it comes to the rest of the world, it's in very early stages, but when you take a leadership position from Canada in terms of intellectual property, formulations, and recognition, and you expand that into those markets with what has worked, what is a proof of concept, and you combine that with low-cost input materials, I think, again, we're uniquely positioned to be leaders within those evolving markets, including Brazil, Colombia, of course, Mexico. And these are markets that we have entered or are entering. But again, because it's medical, it's going to take time. The difference is the process is going to take time. It's a step-by-step approach.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Aras. I've got another question queued up here, and this is from one of your Pura enthusiasts. The question is, what country or countries are next on your rollout list? As a user of the Pura cosmetics, this will be an amazing contributor to revenue.
Thanks for the question. So Pura is, as I mentioned during the call, we're in the process of launching Pura in the United States with our partners Red, White, and Bloom. We're also in the process of launching Pura into the UK. So UK, US, obviously much more developed, much more established markets with much better potential. Is very exciting for us. They will take place over the next couple of weeks to the next couple of months. So we're there. Manufacturing's already been done. We're generally in the process of export. And again, very excited about the potential because these products are coming from our Colombian infrastructure, meaning that our prices are low, our cost is low, we can have significant margins, yet we can leave significant margins for distributors and retailers to make these products much more approachable. And that's really going to be the approach for Pura, is to be clinically backed, sophisticated, advanced skincare line, but to make it approachable and affordable for those markets that we are entering.
Wonderful, wonderful. Great answer there, Aras. And I think we have one more question here in the Q&A, and I'll just read it out for you. Can you please comment on the recent leadership and board changes? How do these changes align with Avicanna's strategy?
About 6 months ago, we went through what I believe is an evolution of the board. Some of the new candidates that have been added to the current board of directors are much more aligned with the company's position and vision. As a pharmaceutical company, we went through, of course, some significant growing pains. But as we evolved from an R&D company into a commercial biopharmaceutical company, I think it's appropriate to make some of those changes in terms of the board, and I think that is what has taken place. In terms of the resignation last night, Flavio has been an incredible board member, a great friend to the company. He stepped in at a time where we were transitioning to support. I'm actually in Brazil. We were with him last night. He's helping us in terms of opening the market here and supporting our commercialization. So the relationship is very positive, but his role was interim, and due to personal limitations of time, he's stepping away from the board, and we're in the process of actually bringing on new board members that are, again, aligned with that vision.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Aras. So I believe that wraps it up for the Q&A segment of today's meeting. I believe there's nothing else outstanding. Would you like to mention any closing remarks before we end the meeting? Oh, sorry. Something just came in right now as we speak. Okay. Lovely. So I have a question here from Michael Freeman. Establishing the Sunnybrook Hospital pharmacy agreement in May was a good testament to the quality of Avicanna's products. How is this program proceeding? Do you foresee other hospitals interested in holding medical cannabis products in their formularies?
It's a great question, Mike. The answer to that is yes. Starting from, do we see other medical institutions? Absolutely. Carlo DeAngelis and the team at Sunnybrook were certainly pioneers. They were the first to take that leap of faith in terms of carrying medical products for dispensing in major hospitals. We've had success since the launch. Of course, there's been some challenges in convincing physicians, without full clinical development, without full Health Canada DIN registration to prescribe these products, but we're making great progress within the Sunnybrook infrastructure. We're expanding into other divisions of the hospital at a weekly basis. The numbers are, of course, not massive when you want to compare it to adult use channel, but I think it's quite significant from a proof of concept and credibility perspective. They're carrying more and more SKUs, and we're seeing improvements there. In terms of other hospitals, we're in discussions with several other hospitals. The truth is we have not dedicated significant resources to the expansion, sales, and marketing efforts in any of our markets, really. Like what you're seeing today in terms of the sales and increase is just really proof of concept. But going into the later stages of Q4 and next year, we're going to be dedicating a dedicated person to expand those particular business units and channels within the medical side, where we do expect to bring on further or more Canadian hospitals.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. Another question has just come in, if you don't mind. The question
Of course.
being, are there analysts covering your company?
Well, we just got questions from two of them. So Raul and Michael from Raymond James. I know that they're covering the company, but during the trade halt, I think the company was going through a transitional period, and I imagine that the analysts understood that. I think today we're back. We're back with fundamentals. We're back with strong progress across a number of business models. I believe there is a number of other analysts that are on this call today. So we expect to get more coverage and more support from the analysts as we proceed.
Excellent. Okay. I do not believe there are any more questions queued up for now. Would anyone else like to enter anything into the Q&A while you're attending? Please feel free to submit your questions now, and if not, you're more than welcome to send us an email. You have my email from the invitation, as well as the company from Avicanna, and we will be happy to address any other questions off the call. With that being said, I believe we are closed for the Q&A segment for now.